I have complex feelings about The Princess and the Frog. I mean, surely we can't cancel our only black princess. We can't expect that we're gonna get another one anytime soon. We might have to recruit someone from the background of Encanto. I don't know, maybe this person? It turns out the movie isn't that good, at least in my opinion. But let's just go through the plot and I'll tell you what I mean. The Princess and the Frog is set in New Orleans, Louisiana in the 1920s, which is a cool stylistic setting, but ended up being kind of controversial as the home of the first black Disney princess. The movie has been accused of historical revisionism, the claim being that they failed to acknowledge what life was really like for black Americans during that time period in that region of the country. Ultimately, I think they went about as far as you should expect from a children's movie that was designed from the beginning to be a major part of the Disney canon. It's probably harder to sell toys if they make kids have to think about America's awful legacy. It's our limited edition doll set featuring Princess Tiana and Prince Naveen, who is intentionally not white because a marriage between a black woman and a white man would have literally been illegal. So yeah, there's a lot you can say about the missed opportunities and socio-political implications of this movie, and people have already done that in detail. Go check out Princess Week's video, for example. I actually just want to talk about this movie like as a movie. You always hear about Cinderella and Ariel and Mulan, but not a lot of people reference this movie or this princess that much. I wonder why. Hi, I'm T1J.
Follow me.
Please hit the subscribe button. I will wait exactly 2.5 seconds while you do so. So obviously our protagonist is Tiana, and when she was little, her daddy told her to work hard, and so when she grew up, she decided to make working hard her entire personality. She would be the biggest fan of Gary Vee. She has 2 waitressing jobs, and she never takes time off and never hangs out with her friends. She just works all the time, mainly because she's saving up money in order to open up her own restaurant, another idea instilled in her by her late father. This alone makes her somewhat unique among Disney princesses, as most of them are either already princesses when the movie starts and or they are literal children, so they don't actually have to work for a living. Unless of course they have an evil stepmother who forces them to. The movie is aware of this, obviously, and makes a conscious comparison of Tiana to her energetic, pampered childhood friend Charlotte, who, being the daughter of an extremely wealthy businessman known as Big Daddy, is essentially the American version of a princess. Charlotte is hoping to marry Naveen, a spoiled, vain, womanizing prince from some made-up country somewhere in the world. All we need to know is that he's definitely not white, but also very conspicuously not black either. You thought Disney was gonna give us the first black princess and the first black prince in the same movie? Don't be ridiculous. Naveen has been invited to a masquerade ball by Big Daddy, so he visits New Orleans with his personal attendant, Lawrence. Lawrence, kind of like Tiana, is fed up with his low status in life, but unlike Tiana, he's sick of the rise and grind. So Lawrence turns to the aid of Dr. Facilier, also known as the Shadow Man, a magical voodoo witch doctor. Dr. Facilier is easily, without question, the best part of this movie. He and his shadow magic is genuinely creepy even to me as an adult, and his scenes have some of the coolest animations and visuals from any Disney movie. Also, Friends on the Other Side is the best Disney villain song of all time. Don't at me.
Friends on the other side.
That whole sequence is an amazing, terrifying acid trip. It's so good, it gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. I love it. My only problem with Dr. Facilier is that he's the main antagonist of this movie, but he doesn't really have a compelling motivation. See, he casts a voodoo spell that transforms Naveen into a frog, which allows Lawrence to take Naveen's place. So now Lawrence can marry Charlotte, and he and the Shadow Man can eliminate Big Daddy and split the inheritance. And once Facilier is the most powerful man in New Orleans, he can deliver souls to the evil voodoo gods that give him his power. But compare this to other classic Disney villains who have a personal vendetta against the heroes of their respective films, which which makes the story have higher stakes, making them feel more important and memorable. Scar hates Simba because Simba's birth prevented Scar from becoming king. Ursula hates King Triton for banishing her from the palace, so she goes after his daughter Ariel. Dr. Facilier has zero personal connection to anyone else in this movie, least of all Tiana, the main protagonist. He literally doesn't have a single scene with Tiana until near the end of the movie. I'm not even joking. It's funny actually, since Facilier's plan has nothing to do with any of the main characters, I actually found myself rooting for him because he's cool. Like, don't get me wrong, Scar is super cool, but I still wanted him to lose. Not really because he's generally evil, but because he devastated the characters that I care about. So Tiana's just not making progress towards her goal of opening up her own restaurant, and this is due to racism, maybe. Disney will never tell.
Which is why a little woman of your background would have had her hands full trying to run a big business like that.
She is tempted by a potential shortcut to her goal when she meets Frog Naveen, who claims that as a prince, he can solve her financial problems in exchange for a kiss, which should break the voodoo spell. But Tiana's not a real princess, she just plays one on TV, so things don't go as planned. Naveen isn't returned to human form, and worse, Tiana has become a frog herself. And now we get to probably the most common complaint about this movie. Tiana and Naveen spend the literal rest of the movie as frogs. This is not a movie about a black princess. This is a movie about frogs. And I will definitely not have been the first person to point out how suspicious it is that every time Disney makes a movie about black people, they don't get to be human in the film. But really, my main problem with the frogs is that this is the least interesting part of the whole movie. And it's like 2/3 of the runtime. Be honest, did you even remember that these hunters were in the movie? Most modern Disney protagonists go on some kind of journey like this where they have to find themselves and figure out their purpose. And the Disney tradition is for them to be aided in this journey by some comic relief talking animals, or talking snowman, or talking household items. You get the idea. So that's basically what this part of the movie is. Simba got to hang out with Timon and Pumbaa, who everybody loves. Cinderella got these absolute ride or die gang of mice. Tiana gets these two motherfuckers. Do not even get me started on Louis and Ray. They are so annoying and dumb, especially Ray. Like, what the fuck is even going on with this thing? He's like this backwoods Cajun hillbilly stereotype.
You got my big butt glowing, that's right. Ooh, women like a man with a big back poach.
He seems like a character that would be in old cartoons from the 40s and 50s that we remember not so fondly now. The song that they sing with Louis, When We're Human, is the second best song in the movie though, so I'll give them that. And in fact, the music for The Princess and the Frog in general is super dope. It's an excellent combination of jazz, blues, and southern gospel that perfectly captures the New Orleans setting. Pretty much every song in the movie is tight, except one. And I'll give you one guess whose song it is. Ray and Louis don't even really matter to the plot of the movie either. They don't influence Tiana or Naveen in any meaningful way. Their only real function in the movie is to tell Tiana and Naveen about Mama Odie, another voodoo practitioner, except it's like good voodoo that they think can break their frog curse. It doesn't. This whole part of the movie is useless. Well, that's not fair. This is of course the part where Tiana and Naveen fall in love, which I guess is important, but it's hard to care because they're frogs. Anyway, the heroes eventually figure out the evil plan, and after a brief scuffle, they succeed in stopping the wedding. And Dr. Facilier is dragged to hell by the voodoo demons as punishment for not completing his mission. Like all of Facilier's scenes, it's creepy and visually awesome. But again, since his backstory is so weak, we don't really care that he's been defeated. It's just like, oh, I guess he's dead now. And now that Dr. Facilier is gone, so is the last bit of potential enthusiasm I have for this movie. Oh, also Ray dies. I was was gonna make a joke about how I didn't care because he was such an obnoxious character, which he was, but they do a decent job of making it genuinely emotional. Everyone looks so sad. At the end of the day, I guess I still have a tender heart. So with all their options depleted, Tiana and Naveen accept that they will have to live out the rest of their lives as frogs. But they're in love now, and that's good enough for them. You would think that if the person who casts a spell on you dies, that spell should be broken. That's how it works in D&D anyway. But whatever. So they're in love and they have a cute little frog wedding with all their animal friends and they kiss. And since technically marrying Naveen has made Tiana a princess, this is enough to finally break the spell.
Like I told y'all, kissing a princess breaks the spell.
Yeah, we got that.
Once you became my wife, that made you
a princess.
Yeah, we got it.
You just kissed yourself a princess.
We got it. And they turn back human and Tiana opens her restaurant and they live happily ever after. I've always been a little sad that there was no redemption for Lawrence because yeah, he went along with a pretty fucked up plan, but he was being gaslit and manipulated by Facilier.
I'm completely innocent. The shadow man bamboozled me.
And that's The Princess and the Frog. There's just like zero characters that I actually care about. Tiana is fine, I guess. I actually have a little more to say about Tiana, but before that, if you love this kind of over-analysis of Disney media that no one really asked for, you should really consider checking out Nebula, our creator-owned video platform. If you type the word Disney into the YouTube search bar this week, you'll probably see a bunch of news about Bob Iger returning as CEO of the company, and maybe you're interested in that, but that's just how the YouTube search algorithm works. But if you do that on Nebula, you're rewarded with hours and hours of intelligent and thoughtful commentary and essay content, including that Princess Weeks video I mentioned before. And that's what's cool about Nebula. It's like YouTube except with a quality filter over it. And it's not just re-uploads of our YouTube videos. Ad-free uploads, by the way. There are also tons of Nebula originals and other exclusive content that you can't find anywhere else made by your favorite creators. Nebula is supported by CuriosityStream, who is the sponsor of this video. CuriosityStream is a streaming service that focuses on documentaries and nonfiction video content, and there are thousands of different titles to choose from, and they're always adding new ones. I'm guessing there's a good chance that if you like video essays, you probably also like documentaries. Some video essays basically are documentaries, so we brought the two together. If you go to curiositystream.com/T1J and use my code T1J, you'll not only get access to CuriosityStream, but also Nebula at no additional cost. And CuriosityStream is currently running a holiday sale, so if you sign up now using my code, you can get 42% off an already pretty inexpensive annual subscription. And remember, you also get Nebula for free. Please go check it out. The link is in the description. So you may have noticed that even though Tiana is the main character of this movie, I had more to say about all the other characters. That's because Tiana doesn't do anything interesting in this movie. So clearly what they were going for was that Naveen and Tiana were kind of like two opposite extremes. Naveen is too spoiled and carefree, while Tiana is too focused on hard work. And so like Tiana teaches Naveen about work and being self-sufficient, while Naveen teaches Tiana how to have fun and appreciate life. The problem is this doesn't really represent a fundamental change for Tiana. Her dedication to hard work is constantly validated throughout the movie. It is never shown to be a bad thing, except maybe in the beginning when she ditches her friends. But I mean, that's just how it be sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta work. The whole reason she got into this mess in the first place is because she was looking for a shortcut to success. And it's her diligence and effort that keeps her and Naveen alive when they're stuck as frogs. And at the end, she gets her restaurant due to hard work. That's her whole motivation, and nothing about that changed. She has no arc. Like maybe you can say she learned to love or something, but it was never established that she lacked the capability to love. She just lacked time because she worked so much, and being a frog gave her some free hours, I guess. But now that she's a human with the famously stressful job of running a restaurant, you think she's not just gonna go back to the grind? Well, we may find out in the upcoming Disney Plus series Tiana, which is a great opportunity to give this character more adventures and frankly more depth. I swear to God, if there are any frogs in this. But at the end of the day, we got a black Disney princess who doesn't come off as a caricature or stereotype. And I think that's important. I'm just a millennial nerd. I'm sure children love this movie, and I will always love the idea of little black kids having a Disney princess that looks like them. That's just me though. What do you think? Thank you for watching this video. I'd like to give a shout out to the homies Elvala, Matthew Gray, Poop Alucard, and Tias. Thanks for supporting the channel. I've created my first YouTube short. It's just something else I noticed about The Princess and the Frog that didn't really fit this video, but there's a link on the screen right now. Go check it out. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Stay Heiko. Bye bye.